Today we are talking about weight loss. Weight loss seems to be a pretty unlikely subject for a YouTube channel about web development, but actually it doesn't have to be. Here's why. Most people use public accountability to help them in their weight loss journey. Imagine posting the weight on Twitter and then the next day you actually gained a little bit or you didn't post any weight. Your friends can either motivate you or make fun of you, and to me that really helps. So how does this relate to web development? I've actually built a little PWA application in Vue.js that works with the JAMstack, but also that works with serverless functions. So when I step on my Wi-Fi enabled scale in the morning, automatically my website is updated, so it shows the extra weight point in the graph, and then it tweets out into the world the difference between the last weigh-in. So in this video, I want to talk a little bit about my history with weight loss, and after that I'll show you exactly how I built this application. Before we go into the technology, I want to share with you a little bit of my weight loss journey, just because it's a bit more personal and I want to share this with people. So when I grew up, I wasn't so fat. I was actually just a bit bigger than most, and I was a bit more bulky and stuff, but not too bad. My mom was a great cook and was able to keep me in check. But to be honest, my body wants to be fat. It's its happy place. So then when I discovered the guitar and playing music live on stage, my life changed. I drank all the drinks, I partied hard, I played a lot of music, I ate bad food. I just let go. And then come 2012, I was so fat that I was feeling sick all the time, out of breath, not good. High blood pressure, the whole thing. And then I had this amazing friend, Chris Finch, I'll link him down in the description, that helped me out back in the day. So I lost a ton of weight. He showed me how to move my body, how to work with weights, how to run, everything. And then it came time to move to Paris. So I moved from Amsterdam to Paris and I was pretty happy with my weight. And then one day, the marathon of Paris crossed our apartment and I saw it and was like, this is it. I'm going to run. No matter that my body is bigger than most people, I'm just going to try to run. This is my new challenge. So I did that and I ran the marathon and I ran a bunch of half marathons and I trained my ass off, literally. And then after that, with a bit of personal issues, family issues that I won't go into now, I got more stressed, I got a really good job but really busy, and I just let go again. And I didn't get as fat as I was, not even close, but I'm slowly getting a bit more fluffy. So I realized I just have to do something about this, because when I lost all that weight back in the day, I actually said to myself, I will never ever be heavier than 100 kilos anymore. But now that I was 106 kilos, that was not good. It had to stop. So that's where I built this Fati application that I spoke about in the intro of this video. So without further ado, let's get into how I built that application and what it entails to do that sort of thing. All right, let's have a look at that app that I've built. It's called Fati because, you know what, I'm fat. That's why we called it Fati. That's all there is to it. So as you can see on the screen, it's a mobile application that also works on desktops and anywhere else because it's a progressive web app. And it's a very simple app that shows a graph of my weight, of where I am at that moment. So if you want to see the app in real life, go to fati.timbenics.nl. You'll find it there. So let's talk about how this actually works, right? So it is a Vue.js PWA that actually updates itself with use of webhooks. Webhooks are one of the more important parts here. So I'm using Vue.js, Azure Functions, GitHub API, Netlify services, and it's a PWA. So in a simple form, this is what's happening. So I have a Withings scale, which is a Wi-Fi enabled scale. So when I stand on it, it will actually send the information that it just found to the Withings application server. From there, based on that information, I update my Fati application with the latest weight value so it can show you a lovely graph. And then I tweet about that change in weight. Either it stayed the same or it went up or down, whatever. So this is in simple terms what it is. So let's dive deep to actually figure out how I did this. So first of all, that widthing scale is Wi-Fi connected. Actually, when I stand on it and that information is sent out, on receiving that information, the Withings API sends a webhook. Yeah, it's basically calling a URL that you specify based on a certain event. So it's from computer to computer, it just calls a URL. And in this case, I say, go to my serverless function on Azure Functions. So call that function and have a query parameter of my weight. So what this thing is, basically you can see the arrow saying serverless. Once I step on that scale, that Withings API sends a webhook to my serverless Azure function, which is a very simple function that doesn't know about anything else on the web. It just, when it gets fired, it wakes up, it does something, and it goes to sleep again. If I don't use it, I don't pay for it. Great stuff. But this is the equivalent of an Amazon Lambda function. So what this thing does, it actually has a connection to the GitHub API. So basically it reads my repository for the Fati app. It grabs the JSON file that has all the weight data historically that I have, and it just adds the value that that webhook just gave it, and does a git commit and a git push to my GitHub repository. So now we move into the JAMstack part of this talk. What that means is all the information about my weight is actually in GitHub. It's actually not on some server anywhere. So the cool part of this is now Netlify can create my application and make a static app and publish it. And all the information is only needed at the build step, but it doesn't have to call anything or no APIs or anything because it's all in the GitHub repository. So this is a really cool part of the JAMstack setup, that my data is only dynamic once it builds it. It can be a third-party API or it can be local data. It creates a static application and publishes that to its CDN. So in this case, when the GitHub repository gets a new change, there's a webhook again. Netlify says, hey, there's a change. Let me just rebuild this application. So it just npm run a build. And then in the dist folder of my build, there's my new application, and it actually redistributes that over the CDN. And then the last part is my progress graph. So once that application builds, I actually dynamically create an SVG file that shows my current weight in a nice graph. It just looks good. And this, I serve this through Cloudinary as a PNG. Because I cannot use a share image on Facebook that's an SVG. So I use the Cloudinary service. Every day I step on the scale, it's updated with a new PNG file. So when I share this online, on Twitter or whatever, it's always the correct image that's shared of my current weight. Okay, next step, because we still haven't tweeted, right? We have only updated the Fati app now. So next, actually, once Netlify has successfully deployed the application, there's another webhook. And that webhook actually then sends information to the tweet progress function in Azure. This is also a pretty simple function that doesn't need to know about anything. It just needs to know, oh, something called me. Let me now go to the GitHub repository of the Fati application, grab all the JSON data about that weight information, historical weight information, and then based on that information, construct a funny tweet to send out. Because it has all information, not just the latest weight, it can actually say, in the last 4 days, Tim lost 3 kilograms, or globally, he lost 5 kilograms. Will he make it to his goal? All that fun stuff. So once you can grab that, it uses a Twitter API to publish, right? And that tweet looks like this. I call it Fati bot, and it says, yes, Tim lost 100 grams since his last weigh-in 2 days ago. And in total, he lost blah, blah, blah. So you can do a bunch of fun stuff now with this. And of course, because this is just a simple Azure function, you can also have multiple Azure functions that then maybe publish to Facebook or to LinkedIn or whatever you want. You can do a whole bunch of stuff now because you can see all the items are connected with these webhooks. Alright, so that's it for the technology. So there you have it. It wasn't actually that hard to put together this application. It is actually much harder to lose the weight. The one part that I really struggled with actually was the Azure functions, especially how their interface is set up and how everything works and stuff. But once you get it, it's actually really doable. And so I kind of transitioned from being a front-end developer more into being a web developer, so more of a global view. And if you see all those chunks in space as they are, it's much easier to connect them all together, and suddenly there's this vast array of cool applications you can now build. And things like Netlify truly help you for having stuff hosted for free, adding the functions, having all this extra fun stuff is just super cool. So thank you for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye!